everyone. If you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. Mark is Mark around. Mark!
Hey everybody!
And this is Smokey Steve and Mark. Welcome or welcome back and happy Saturday. Saturday instead of Sunday, yeah. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Plus, things can happen so fast in girl world. You know, I'm surprised there's not a scrolling marquee on Fox News that says more random dumb shit for your entertainment. So we're having like breakfast for dinner, sort of. I have a bacon sandwich. It is bacon. Not for any particular reason, not trolling, but you know, bacon sounded good. And coffee with vanilla creamer. And a Diet Pepsi in case I get bedhead brandy. Hello and welcome. I think you're first. So, hope everybody's doing good. Had a feeling I'd be live today. I'm just trying to keep up at this point. You're probably not going to hear any too wild predictions because she's wildly predictable. But we still have a few things to touch on. And that's about it. I am so sorry, guys. I just can't stand the angle of this. Can't stand it. Oh, well. So, happy Saturday to you too, Voodoo. Happy. 7 smiles. Mike, I saw you come through. So we're going to be catching up a bit with our fair lady today. Chantal Marie, Foodie, Beauty, Big Beautiful Me. The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, the Chantal Show, the Beezer Shows, Chantal and Sala. With that many opportunities to succeed, she's still failed. Have a good day at work, Mr. McPhoebe, Kelga, hello. Grateful, hello. Ray Viper, hello. And hello everyone in the chat. So last time we had checked in, it was sounding like the marriage was over. So, from the Netherlands, hello. It sounded like the relationship was over. Of course, then it was fixed and broken again within a very short period of time. She wasn't getting responses from Sala, so she broke up with him via a text he hadn't seen yet. So she's going on in the chat like, you know, it's over, and then he comes in and she's like, oh, awkward. And she's going to go on with her faith or whatever. The hijab came off, which I can't stand that. Like that. Okay. She is playing games again. She loves her little reindeer games. And, like, how full of a life to play cat and mouse with some guy who doesn't even want to show you a picture of where he is. Who says he's in Syria anymore? You know, no pictures, please. Nothing says, I trust you, I love you, you're part of my life. Like, I can't disclose to you my location right now. Sorry. Middle schoolers don't break up as often as Chantal and Sala. It's just how it is. Hey, Panda, how are you? It's just how she rolls with men. I can't blame them for getting burnt out on her. She's a very high-maintenance partner. She needs undivided attention. She had to flip out with, well, we'll talk about it, at Sala, not so much with him, because she didn't feel like she was going to be treated special enough on a holiday. A holiday for a religion she probably can't spell Muslim, but it's a sacred, holy day, and she's supposed to be acknowledged. How long does it take to send a text that says... It's not about how long it takes, it's about not wanting to do it. It could take 3 seconds to send you a text, but why continue a relationship that's just... I mean, if you're texting buddies at this point, you don't want to travel, he has limited travel. And like I said, who knows where he is? He could be in Malaysia right now, you know? And just tell her anything. She's obsessed. And it's weird to watch this. The obsession with Nader was an hour-and-a-half drive, tops, to engage and to make it. Sala, she's got to try to get her claws in him and still manipulate the situation so she's getting something out of it. And right now, she's not. All she wanted probably was someone to text and say husband. And then she didn't feel like she was being treated special enough on a day that's not about her. And is not getting a message from him because he's with his family. And he's talking and he's celebrating. And I want to say this sooner than later. When I was talking last week, and I heard some other people, but mostly me, say, you know, I think Salah probably wouldn't be too thrilled to be there. He'd probably want to leave Syria before she'd want to go back. Allowed or not allowed, that's how it would go. They don't want her there. And also, Sala sounds like he likes his family. Chantal would ditch her family for a guy like that. Wouldn't even occur to her, so she can't imagine why he won't ditch everyone else important in his life and try to shoehorn getting all of his needs met from this woman online who does nothing but stir shit and create problems. Oh, Sala. The aunties and the cousins really pulled through on this one. And she feels like he's being manipulated. He's surrounded by people who love him without him having to do anything. That's not manipulated. That's family. You know, like, but she does feel left out, like there's no room for her. His father fucking hates her. I can tell. She can tell. And that was one of the big roadblocks. But that's his family. He's known them for years. He grew up with them. These are parents, families, cousins, all this stuff. She's some woman who lived with us for a while, and she wants the respect of family. If that's how you treat family, no wonder they don't want to have anything to do with her. You know? It's too high risk. Chantal will risk putting your private information out there if she thinks she can get some views on it and maybe manipulate a little bit. I'm sure she has things on her mind that, Salva, I didn't even tell them the half of it, so she can blackmail him into being nice to her. Would you really want to have to blackmail a person into dating you? You know, keeps him from falling for her. He's not buying it, but he's with other people that aren't buying it. And, you know, thanks for the solar panels, but adios. Try another Muslim. Sorry. So she's back to monetize. I'll go back in a little bit of order here. Last week too, Ozempic. She was on week 1. She's a skinny bitch now. Discussions about her returning to addiction when lo and behold, she had gone to the dispensary, got herself nice and loaded, and decided that smoking a joint's okay for her because she's different. She's not hooked on it. She only does it once in a while, so it's not that big of a deal. The chat is not keeping you held to a moral standard. Your husband and family, your family, right, are holding you to a standard. Some faiths have a sort of position where there's a calling to bring up, she's going to hear criticized, bring up individuals who are maybe not all doing all they could be doing as part of the faith. She wants none of that. She doesn't want to be corrected, talked to. How can you roll into the Middle East after having been texting with a guy for a few weeks to go marry him and then get pious and lecture about her position and her choices and what she's doing and where's your man? Honey, where's yours? You can't even get a picture. Not even a background. He's so disinterested in you finding him that he's gone off the radar. That's love, isn't it? Now, I can see, even if they were together, him wanting to stay away because everything that touches her turns to shit, which you think he'd be okay with, but in most circumstances, I guess he's not. Yes, her terms and conditions, not YouTube's, not Kick's, not Sala's. You know, and honestly, if anybody's going to have disproportionate power in their relationship, it's going to be him. He's a guy. Sometimes that's the only difference it makes, depending on what part of the world you're in. But you chose him. He was living his life doing his thing. She decided to insert herself into his life twice. Left, came back, left, came back. So the Ozempic, she's not skinny yet, but discussions about her turning back to substances, within 36 hours she was high. Because if food's not going to do it for her, that's not a craving she's going to be able to fulfill, I think. She'll try to smoke her way through it to get her appetite back, which is what it seemed like she was having. You know, I didn't get this and I didn't get those. It's just once in a while. No one knows what she bought. Of course she bought a shit ton. That's how she shops. She shops like she has a family. Even the cat's kind of over her, I think. So coming back, she's back monetized now. So she was still on Kick for a hot minute, but is going over to YouTube. With all her relationship psychodrama, she got a fair number of views on her first, day back. It was 10 to 15,000, somewhere in that range for that. So, hey, Seven. So she's moving again and up again. She said she likes Kick. You know she doesn't like working 7 hours a day. Granted, if she is going to work 7 hours a day, she wants it to be a camera in her face that's attentive to her every move, blink, and burp. Because that's how Sala should be watching. She'll tell us he's busy, but she means, where the fuck are you? I know you're not busy. So she's trying to save face. I think we're beyond saving face with this marriage. I think if anything going on behind the scenes is 1/3 of what's going on camera. You know, she says, his family doesn't like me. They threw her a go-away party. Why would you want to insert yourself where you're not welcome? Why would you want a husband you had to convince that he needs to act like he loves you? Even whether he does or doesn't seem to be an issue. She wants him to present himself as a loving partner. Where's your man? Where's yours? Where's yours? Mine's on the porch. You know. But Mark and I have fewer secrets from each other. Long distance doesn't necessarily mean I have an entire life I'm going to lie about when we get back together. If two people agree, you live here, you live there, maybe they have an open relationship, maybe they don't, maybe he can be with other people, but she can't because it's a double standard, and come on. He's more likely to go out and get laid by a stranger than her, unless she has electronics with him. So, you know, that goes it. She's very, very, very afraid. Yes, fake and love me, Steph. She's afraid that she's going to be written out of the story on their terms and not hers. You know, her last act of control sometimes is just to try to burn everything down, so to speak. I don't know. So the hijab came off. She's got cockroach vibes, by the way, for the monetization. So, like, don't be surprised if it's another few years before something happens. She made 0 changes, deleted old content, and then as she comes back on, she's going to have to do the stuff that made her money before, which is the stuff that was not so well received by those who monetize. So we'll see how she does. She doesn't believe in caution. It's not her style. So the hijab came off when she was having a fight with Salah's phone as it was vibrating somewhere in his cousin's room. So she decided on the holiday, EID, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I know how to spell it, is being celebrated. Now, I only know what I know about Middle Eastern culture from watching Milk Tea and a little bit of Googling, honestly. So, trying to figure out, you know, she's on vacation, so I'm thinking, okay, it's that couple weeks off. Like, I know in the UK, you get 2 weeks off for Easter. We did barely get 2 weeks off for a plague, let alone 2 weeks off. The whole country would shut down. Work, work, work. That's the, you know, I live in a meritocratic, where meritocracy matters. You have no worth besides what you can produce. So, hey, Pixie. Now, I'm thinking, like, they definitely don't want her back. Period. I mean, it sounds like that was not uncertain. We don't want you in Syria. We don't want you at the house. We don't want you there. How can she confuse that for anything other than exactly what it is? So, I don't know. I don't know. I live in the US. We're supposed to work ourselves to death. There's no such thing as a hobby. It has to be a side hustle. If you're not getting paid for it, it's a waste of your time. I don't roll like that. So with the hijab off, her saying that, you know, it's her husband, but now she wants to get his attention in a negative way, so the hijab comes off. And none of the other clothes are on. And she talks about, hey, Lara, how she's doing all this for him. Oh, no, I don't. It's a celebration over a period. It's not, what was it? Was I thinking Christmas? Some other holiday. There's closed. Maybe it's just, I don't know. But thank you for the correction, because I was very jealous. Because like I said, we have a few federal holidays, but otherwise, since, you know, it's not a Christian nation, but most of the Christian holidays are paid days off for a lot of folks. So it goes. Well, maybe I was just confused because she hasn't done anything for 2 weeks. And I thought maybe that was the case elsewhere. So without the hijab, she's starting to talk about her feelings about the Muslim community. So she goes hard at the beginning of the live where there's none. She comes on and then dun-dun-dun-dun, the reveal, and she's got her hair, God love her, and she's, you know, trying to talk to the camera. So she launches immediately into everything that's wrong with Islam. Everything. Okay, Christmas. That's better. Okay, I had right God, wrong holiday. Thank you. She's demanding attention, and when she can't get good, she'll take bad. She's a kid like that. So when she comes on without the hijab talking shit about him, first of all, she's still texting a phone that's vibrating unattended somewhere. In the meantime, she's going through all this plotting and planning. She does have feelings, but she likes power better. So try to find her way around. She wasn't able face to face to manipulate him away from his family, at least not away from his father. The rumor mill is going that maybe he's back in Kuwait with Dad. You know, maybe it was just an opportunity for him to escape a situation that was not going to improve. There's no writing on the walls in this relationship where it's like, you know what, if they can just get over this hurdle, I really think Chantal and Salwa can make it. No way. She's not jumping any hurdles. I didn't say that. You did. She's insisting that she's family because they're married. So now they're married and devout. When it's not so convenient for her, she's not. But because they're married, she's family. But the family member who asks you to choose between them and someone else, always pick the someone else. No decent person's going to make you choose between two family members or two people, you know. So she hates people, but she wants them around a lot. She wants people who will do things for her around a lot. So I think Kuwait would be safe. I mean, he's probably safer. He can probably have things like goals and stuff like that. But if he's surrounded by family who prop up the fact that because he's a man, that he has a certain role, and then are any of the kids his? Are any of the family members maritally connected? You know, Chantal's big concern that he was going to go off and marry a cousin, and then took all that back. It's hard. She wants face-to-face attention. She was like uppity in a stupid kind of snot way when she was eating the beaver tail and she got it all over her and it was falling all down her face. She was not only doing it for an audience online, people were walking by. And of course Chantal make a spectacle of herself and say, people are so rude to stare, I'm just trying to live my life. I mean, you can do that if you want, but people can tell in attention who are trying to play like quiet. You know, someone like her doesn't go on for hours screaming about personal stuff, and then she'll come back later and say, my husband and I want to keep this kind of behind the scenes. Well, if you meet him sometime, let me know. So goes. So no hijab, she's sick of the Muslim community. While she's doing this, mind you, she's got these fucking nails on, these freaking, like, claws, and she's scratching her nose with it, because what the hell else would she do? Except scratch her ass with it, too. And as she's sitting there talking, and the nails are blazing, and she's no hijab, you know, just covered up, and her rant about Islam, her rant about family values, her rants about the uselessness of families. Now, hers is important to her when she's got to, like, get a ride from the airport or needs a break, but he's supposed to ditch all of his family from where he lives. It only takes a minute to text someone. That's the point. He didn't even care that much. Get it? Get it? Get it? If he can't be bothered for a 1-minute text, that's how much he doesn't like you. He doesn't care if you're upset by it, because you're not really. If there's a marriage on paper, he sure as shit isn't acting like it. You know, he's kind of going on with what he's doing. She goes into a rant about him, and then cleans it all up and backtracks, and then she goes into the next one with all that. I know, it does look kind of bad. It reminds me of when I was a kid. You ever get the snack Bugles? They're little funnel-shaped corn, and you put one on every finger. That's what she flashed me back to. You know, I don't think she would eat the nails she has on now, but I loved that. And you could do it with black olives, too, and be olive fingers. I'm not all there, I'm sorry. I'm a little more shot out than I realized until lately. I hope we have better help, too. I have advantages that a lot of people don't in the U.S. I have work. I have health insurance through my job. Now, it's not cheap or free, but it's there, and the alternative is nothing. We are able to work it out that Mark also has insurance, so we're covered by that stuff. But, like, you know, one visit to the doctor is like $100 out of pocket, depending. And I see a psychiatrist, which counts as a specialist, so it's the higher copay. But what's the alternative? You know? So, it is. Hey, Trinka. Oh, of course she's going to get another beaver tail. She's renting a car. That was up. She's going to be renting a car a little bit going forward. Where could she need to go for a little while in a car? Well, let's see. She doesn't have a lot of friends. Shannon came back up, which is funny because we brought Shannon up, I think last week or the week before. The on again, off again frenemy types. Well, for the food, you're right. There's things that she can't get delivered that she could go out. Definitely down the long road. I don't give a shit what she says. Cheaters get worried about their partners cheating. So if she's all up in his business wondering what he's doing, it's because she's doing nasty shit all over too. And she thinks if I'm that much of a scumbag, maybe he is too. So she treats him like he's being unfaithful and disloyal when she's talking to exes, when she's talking to other people. She wants to go into his phone, let him go into yours with no notice. Not, I want to see your phone in 10 minutes. Actually, I have both your phones. Maybe you should check that. I don't know, the Ozempic, she's trying to say to him, hey, I'll be thin soon with the Ozempic, but nothing is foolproof, you know? More invasive techniques have failed with other people. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to get Ozempic and I'll be skinny. You still have to wait for your body to lose the weight. And I don't think it works the way she thinks it works, because it would work faster in that way. So it goes. She doesn't trust her husband, then why is he your husband? She went through his phone. She couldn't help herself. He left it open. There is no open. Phones don't open and close. There's like 2 lines of phones that still do that. That means you looked at the screen, you knew it wasn't your phone, and you looked anyway. Snooping is an insatiable kind of thing to do. And I've been a snoop, so I know how this goes. You think, oh, are they keeping a secret from me? Well, I keep secrets from them, so they must be keeping some from me. Also, going through his shit, she probably can't read a lot of it, and that makes her insecure. And she can't be there with him under thumb, demanding he come back to her private air-conditioned room in the compound where he lives, because she might need something. So he wasn't being attentive enough. He's not your caretaker unless he's the one who's like been keeping her clean and helping her out. If he was helping her do things much more, you know, I don't know. So after the hijab meltdown, she started walking it back because that's what Chantal does. She starts with, I'm being impulsive, I'm so sorry. You don't do it in your husband's phone. I don't go through Mark's phone. I know what's in his phone. He tells me. You know, I either trust him or I don't. You can't say, I trust you, but I need proof. In a relationship, I mean, that's tough because you're essentially saying to the person, I don't trust you, no matter what you say. I don't trust you. And she gets to be a victim if he's doing that sort of thing. How could you cheat on your poor wife? She did nothing but move across the world for you. No one asked. When she invited herself back to Syria. So she left, and all of a sudden she shows up, and Salah has to arrange to get her from the airport. She just fucking princess. I want to be here. Handle it when I get here. Because who would leave her at a Damascus airport? Well, he did not want her to come back. He said, don't come. And she just inserted herself. I don't think she'd go back to Syria now because she is so widely... She was always unliked, but I think now she sees how far people are willing to act on that and say, I don't like you, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to pretend to be your husband anymore. You know, stop telling people and stay out of my family's chats and things like that. So, but since she thinks it's her family, she'll treat it like her family, which means that she'll use you for whatever she needs and then cancel plans. Do you guys want to come over for my birthday and bring presents? Sorry, I can't come to Christmas and bring you guys presents. I'm Muslim this season. He did act just Ginger. He was saying very much, don't come. Don't come with. So, and he did. So could you blame him for being mad? No. Morbidly waiting for the end. We're all in the same boat, Yellow. It's not a proud thing to say, but I do have my curiosities, like, where will you be when it happens? So, her being remonetized means that she had reapplied and she was approved. So we have the remonetization. Yes, we saw her dance, the twerk. She's going to get... That dance was enough to get her monetization taken off again! Right there. Oh, yeah, that was worth celebrating. They threw a party when her ass was getting on a plane. They were so thankful to be rid of her. And it's not because she's Western, and it's not because she's a woman in a place in the. Why would you insert yourself into a place where women don't have as many, I don't want to say rights, things that they can do more easily? Insert yourself into that culture and then complain how it's too strict. She wants to be like diet Muslim light, Muslim zero sugar, which means she gets to wear the outfit. You're supposed to give her the respect of a quiet Muslim woman who is reserved and faithful and yada, yada, yada. She gets the outfit. So in a still photo, she might pass for a revert, convert, pervert, whatever the hell she is. So she'll look the part. But as soon as she opens her mouth, scumbag falls out. The way she talks, the way she carries herself, the way she talks to her husband, I don't care, Muslim, Christian, or atheist. If I went on and started talking a ton of shit about Mark on our channel and then get everyone riled up about how mean he is off camera, you guys don't see what's going on. You don't have any idea what's happening on this side of the camera. And then Mark comes on and says, there's nothing. I'm trying to break up with them. She's going to lose her shit again. I could drive and spy on Ned, or not being able to do the same with Saul is making her crazy. Yes, Nancy, and thank you for the super chat. She doesn't get to know. She doesn't have instant access. Even when they went on vacation, she taped her fucking phone to his chest like a cop's camera so that she could see everyone he was seeing and interacting with. That's not cute. That's not possessive in a cute way. I'm sorry, Steph, I didn't mean to be so blunt, but when she's upset, she gets really obnoxious, and Chantal's the queen of the low blow. You could say, Chantal, it's a family event. It's all my family here. And she'll turn around and say something about sand N-words, and she'll make fun of the music, she'll do all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff she does. But you're not supposed to hold it against her because she's a Western Muslim, which means she dresses for it. You're supposed to treat her like it. She wants all the respect that a devoted appearance would give. And so when she's sitting there toking up with her hijab on, when she's doing other activities in it, she doesn't understand. Her behavior most times is just a reflection on her, and who is she hurting but herself. But if you're going to decide, I'm part of this group, and I don't act like anyone in this group, and I don't really get along with anybody in this group, but she has her own reasons. And honest, I'm not that guy, but after she got out with the hair out and that, she looks better in the hijab. I mean, I don't want to say it. Her body is starting to fail with age. So, yeah, she's yelling about smoking in public. I'm stoned and I'm in public. If I got on a scooter a little bit drunk and started screaming into traffic, talk about entitled. Didn't they know I was coming this way? They should have shoveled the sidewalks. Oh, dear heart. Oh, dear heart. And to think Salah was hesitant to, hit up. So walking back the hijab, I was being impulsive. It was a hurtful thing to do, but I'm allowed because I was mad. So you're supposed to understand being treated poorly because you know how she is. That's straight abusive logic. Don't make me hit you. You know how I get. And so if I do hit you, it's your own fault because you provoked me. Now, that doesn't always fall along gender lines. Any two people could have an abusive sort of friendship, relationship, of that kind of thing. The hijabs were doing a lot for her. A lot. They were holding all this up. And look, she's 2 years younger than me, but she's 200 pounds heavier. So fat is heavy, and it pulls on everything. It pulls down. That's why at the tender age of 43, my stomach and chest are pretty much in my lap. Fortunately or unfortunately, I carried a shit ton of weight in my upper body. So even though I've lost some weight, there's still bounce and jiggle in all of the not so masculine places. So we have compression shirts, we have self-acceptance, we have partners that tell us they don't care. Yeah. People think she's not even a good fake Muslim. She's like a nasty person in a hijab. That's all it is. It's not more complicated. She just wants to cover her hair and her neck. I was looking for my yarmulke, honestly. Hand to God, no shit. Because I was thinking, I got one when I went to a bat mitzvah one time, and it was like engraved with the date of the ceremony. And then we all went to a hotel restaurant and ate a bunch and danced and drank, and it was fun. I got to keep the yarmulke. So I'm bald, like her. If I put the yarmulke on and don't follow any other part of the faith or tradition except the one that conveniently does for me what I want it to do, that's using faith for attention. That's using pointers. You know, the hijab is supposed to say, wow, she's pretty devout. She's da 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 da. She must respect her husband. Husband doesn't care. Chantal is known also for doing these big acts of devotion. The kind that if somebody liked you, they'd be impressed by. You know, showing up in Syria unannounced is not a rare treat because, oh, honey, I thought I wasn't going to see you for a long time. It was, what the fuck are you doing here? Life is going on here without you. Send some money or be gone. And the fact that the relationship started so quickly either meant it was head over heels in love or total bullshit from the start. I'm going to go with total bullshit. Not that she doesn't know how to love people. She can control and have leverage, but you can't make people love you, no matter how much you lie, no matter how much you change your clothes. It's still her under there. And she's just not right for the kind of men that she said she wants to meet. She was all turned off by Middle Eastern guys. This was when the blue nails and the stringy hair freak out was happening. So she hates Muslims, she hates Muslim men, she hates Muslim traditions, da, 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 da. And then she walks it back because she was upset. You know how I get when I'm upset? Sometimes I change my mind before telling anybody. She's not the kind of person who you could go to. Like, if I was having a really hard time, if I had a friend like Chantal who, as soon as you say, hey Chantal, how are you doing? She takes it as a cue to launch into how she's been screwed over this month and how nobody understands it and how everyone's an idiot and how I make my money sitting around all day. So, it's not the flex you think it is to sit on Kick for 7 hours. It really isn't. A lot of us do other stuff with that time, whether we're employed, unemployed, retired, disabled, wherever. You know, most people fill their day with activity. She just doesn't. She's right here, and this is it. Because this is a world where no one wants her. Like, she gets to play a bit. As much as she's been in his chat or trying to coerce things, I'm sure she accuses Beezers of trying to get in there and manipulate him, but I would suspect she made up a fake name, went into his chats to see if she could make him cheat, to see if she, under another name and picture, could make him do that, because then she can turn around and say, see, I knew you were lousy. I knew you would cheat on me. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Sometimes you can't be both. A lot of times you can, but sometimes you can't be both happy and right at the same time. So she picks her battles poorly. She goes over the top and then takes it back and then tries to frame it. It's like a chaotic kind of insanity that like her Beezers find endearing and empowering somehow. That club, the whole ladies' night at Club Cluster B, where they're all hanging out and complaining about how the world is so mean to all of them and how we're all terribly misunderstood and nobody gets us. She's misunderstood, but not in the good way. She's not as nice as people might think. The laugh, the giggle, and the smile is just for show. It's a nervous kind of strangery type thing. Her perspective, I think what does it a lot for people is the religion. And I'll disclose, I'm not Muslim. I'm really not anything. Be nice to people. Don't talk with your mouth full. And so that was the religion I kind of came along with. But if she's going to make the choice to date this person because of the religion, that she started converting her outfit before she started converting her faith. She came on with a hijab to try to win over a guy who probably said, I like women in hijabs. Now, he might have meant he doesn't like women who do other stuff too. You know, oh, yeah, if you wear the hijab, it would be a sign of respect for me. But trashing his family, alleging that they are going to cause physical harm to you. That's how fast she wanted to get away from these people. They wanted to hold her to such a not high standard that she didn't want to be around it. She felt like it was nagging. That's, you know, some families are like that. Some cultures are like that. You moved into a collectivistic kind of culture. And he wouldn't, I said, ditch his family as quick as she would. She has very malleable relationships with them. She can convince herself and then try to convince the chat that she's pretty much on her own anyway, and that she's been on her own since she was 16. She hasn't been on her own yet. No, this is the closest she's gotten. She's falling apart. She's a middle-aged woman who's never had to do her own dishes by herself, and if you don't clean, it's still dirty in the morning. Now, her mother and aunt will come over because they're idiots and will indulge this, but I didn't mean to be snarky. It just bothers me. And like to what I was just saying, I'm not Muslim, but if she, and I'm not anything, but let's say she was Catholic or something and had the cross on and all the little shows of it and then carried on like an unbelievable bitch the whole time. Take your cross off because it's not doing whatever you think it's doing. Sometimes these religious things for show are just show. And me having been raised Christian, I understand that a lot of times people do religious stuff for show. You know, anybody in the know knows that you're not supposed to wear a rosary. They're supposed to be for prayer. And I went to 1,000 years of Catholic school. But I also know when someone's being disrespectful to Catholics and when they're not. Like when someone's making a religious kind of a charged joke about it. Now I'm in the in-group, so I can laugh about it. I've had all my sacraments, baptism, confirmation, Eucharist. I'm in the club. So that's it. I'm in. We'll see what they pull together for a funeral. I don't know. But so her being remonetized means next to nothing. The hijab coming off. She said she's sick of being picked on and sick of being corrected and sick of make me feel inferior. No one can make you feel anything. They can suggest it, they can repeat it, but they can't make you feel that. I think a more confident person would have left sooner. You know? I don't know why she felt like she had to connect to a certain part of the world to meet a husband. It's okay to like, hey, I made some friends in the Middle East and I'm going to go visit. We're going to stay for a while. But their expectations of marriage were very different. And she really didn't bother to look into the details because she was able to say husband. My husband this, my husband that. My husband's out getting me food. My husband's out raping. And I didn't say rape, did I? He's out there having fun with other people while she's home alone. It's not reasonable to expect him to stay in a room and just talk to her on his phone all day. Like, that's not how it's going to... He's not going to do that. That's not the roles of men and women. And has more going for him, I would think, than her. If he had nothing going on, he'd probably sit there and play reindeer games and text. But he's got a life. He's got family. He's got other people, friends. The kind of people that were pushed away by her might be willing to come back while she's gone. And if I had to choose between my family and Chantal, it's not even a question. Now, if my family put it to me, we love you, we don't like Mark. That would be news after having known Mark for 16 years, that they all of a sudden didn't like him. I would feel conflicted, but I love my husband, and I don't pay for him to stay with me, and I don't load conversations, and then Mark will come on camera surprised that I said he's taking me, to Milan for my birthday. So, and then when I'm mad about something, blame it on Mark and get all of you mad at him too. And then when he and I get back together, because whatever, everyone's going to be mad at him. I caused that. I brought that out. I didn't choose his behavior, but I chose to bring it to YouTube. And if I choose to bring it to YouTube, hey, Veronica, you're ending your marriage on WhatsApp. I'm dead. Nice to see you, dear. She doesn't like being picked on, corrected. I think if you want to go deeper than she is, she doesn't like being vulnerable. And all she has is trust that he's not doing whatever he said he wouldn't do. If she said, like, if you love me, you wouldn't do that. That's different than you wouldn't do it. Because you're giving him a caveat. Well, if you love me, you won't do it. Well, if I don't love you, then I will. So, thanks, Claudia. So I don't think she likes being vulnerable. Either you trust him or you don't, and it doesn't sound like you do. So why not just cut your losses, keep your outfits, and maybe the next guy, will like them. But that hijab's for her. Don't get it twisted. It's not for him. Not at all. The hijab is for her to cover what... It's easier than doing your hair. It's cheaper than having to use hair fibers. And true, if she does find a man or whoever that really loves her for herself, he probably won't care about the thin hair. He would like her as much in a wig or a hijab as he would by that. But she's not going to meet a man who's like that because she's too shallow. Oh, I don't like big guys. I don't like small guys. I don't like this. I don't like that. Yeah, there's a fucking hell of a long line to get to you that you can be picky. And again, it's not that she's an ugly person. It's not that fat people are ugly. It's none of that kind of shit. She'll take it there so she can dismiss it, but it's like, no, not you, Chantal. Not your weight, not your past. You are the reason your husband doesn't want to hang out with you. Nobody else. He's not doing anything more interesting now, except maybe he's having fun. He can go out without having to think, I have to get home. He doesn't have to send her pictures of the cat and everyone he's talking to. He doesn't have to explain why there might be women in any of the pictures, even if they were related to him. So, Ozempic's a scam. Well, it's not going to work if you get yourself blasted, stoned, and then eat your way through it. The bottom line is that you're going to need to eat less. Now, this can assist with that, but again, it's not a fix-all. There's lifestyle changes. There's that other stuff that goes with it. I think last time we talked, I work in and around folks who have mental health and drug and alcohol concerns. And Chantal carries on like someone who has a history of addiction. The selfishness and self-centeredness is what she's got. She is only going to be doing these things. She was trying to get healthy as a show for Sala. Well, she can't get healthy right away. So she was going to start Ozempic and do this and do that. She didn't lose 80 pounds in the first week and a half, so she thinks it's a scam. Bottom line is you need to eat less, whether you take a drug to help you do it, whether some medications change your metabolism, insulin resistance, all sorts of fun stuff. See, my dad was the decider. When Mark came and moved in with me and my parents originally, he had finished off at a halfway house. I was living with my parents just straining, trying to get well. And he moved in. And he stayed for like a week and then left, and another couple of weeks and left, and then came for a month. And that was one of those where I had to ask Mom. Mom looked at Dad, and then they had to talk for a second. So I left the room. But Mom said a lot as far as Mark being worried, because my dad his resting face looks like he's like upset with you about something. And he's not. He's just a quiet person. He'll talk back to you, but he usually won't start talking first. So Mark thought he hated him, of course. I'm like, Mark, if Dad didn't want you here, you wouldn't be here. My dad's not a tough guy, but he would have the boundary of, I'm sorry, you can't stay, and we'll happy to find you somewhere else to go. But he let him stay because, Dad's pretty intuitive with, good people have hard times and sometimes need a hand. Mom always said, after I came out as gay, she said she wanted to open a halfway house for young LGBTQ people who get put out of their, houses or whatever, somewhere to stay. And she said halfway house, and my brother was like, halfway to what? Halfway to gay? Like, what? She meant the model of, if you need to start over, here's a place with low rent and things included and somewhere to get back on your feet. I think that's what she had in mind. Not like conversion camp. I don't think that was the same thing they were going for. So she'll never say that she doesn't want to be vulnerable, but she is. She has to trust him, and she doesn't because he wasn't honest with her before. I can't blame her for not trusting him. I can blame her for forgiving it and going back again. And again, last visit we talked about, does a leopard ever change its spots? And I think what I had kind of landed with was, people can change, but it doesn't make the initial thing like go away. Like, I'm not a daily drinker. I'm not even a part-time drinker anymore. And that was a big, big change for me to go from that lifestyle. Not only that, but defending that lifestyle. Not only am I hurting myself, I'm defending it more, and I'm more passionate about it than any other relationship I have. So I never show the clips. I don't like to show as many clips of her. First of all, it's her business. She wants to make a nickel off of it, fine. I'm not going to begrudge her, for however many views just to check it out. But I don't want to hear her over again either. Tomorrow, you're at 8 months, Trinka. That is fantastic. Congratulations. I'm sure it was a lot of work. It usually is. So congratulations. I've found, you want some unsolicited advice? Here's me being selfish. It was harder to get sober than stay sober. So I would always tell myself, if I do this right, because I had relapsed so many times, if I do this right, I don't have to do it again. If I take this seriously, I won't have to come back and do this again. It hits the reset button on your whole life when you kind of enter treatment. So yeah, I'm a bit different than I was prior. I think the first thing people can change is like not the thoughts, it's the behaviors. Like, if she didn't want to be a psycho stalker, she could make it a point to not look at her phone. It's going to be a challenge to her because there's no one watching to see if she sticks to it. So she won't. But I promise you, if you let the whole day go by without hitting refresh on the last post of his, like, maybe she'd feel better. I mean, doesn't she think she could get anyone better? I'm sure he does. But again, she's not the pickiest person. Or I haven't touched my bacon yet. Not because it's her, but you know. It is very, very, very challenging, especially the first year of sobriety. Whether it's the first time you've had a year or not. It gets easier, Trink, I promise. Even if it's not that hard. Like, I had the pink cloud for a little bit, but is he looking for a green card? They were kept... Oh, don't tell my mother, Veronica, it'll kill her. He was looking for something. Now, they had applied for him to try to come to Canada a few times, and my understanding was the answer was no, you know. Yeah, Mark and I are just roommates, like, you know, like Bert and Ernie. The ambiguously gay duo. Some people are shocked. It's usually... usually people that aren't so bright, or folks that are older that just err on the side of, you know, you're married, what's your wife's name? Most people aren't gay, so that's a fair thing to think maybe I misspoke, but I usually don't twice. And again, that's why I said I keep my wedding band on my middle finger, so if idiots ask, what, are you married? I'm like, yeah, you want to see my ring? So that's how we roll here. Your husband's 13 months sober, just got a huge promotion. That's great, Mouse. They talk about in 12-step groups, benefits of recovery, the gifts of recovery, and there's a few of them that come with it. Now, I'm not a personal, somebody asked, we're doing a Q&A, there's a post up, if you have any questions, feel free to add, if I still do the 12-step thing. I still live with addicted thinking, with other kinds of behaviors that go with it, but the substance, no. We were able to let the substance go. And you can't fill it back again. Like, I knew guys are like, I've got to stop using. I'm just going to go to the gym. Well, what do you break an ankle? You're going to go out and use again. You know, take it easy. Easy does it, but do it. That would probably work as a bit of advice for her. Easy does it, but do it. You know, just because she has to go slow, it doesn't mean that it's no help for her to do it at all. If she went out walking 3 days a week for 10 minutes, Chantal, get downstairs, walk 5 minutes in any direction, turn around and come back. There's 10 minutes. You know, one of the things I think helps people build recovery is starting simple. Keep it simple. My sponsor, when I was going to the meetings, I had a woman, which was somehow controversial. You're supposed to stick with your gender because guys can be pigs and do what's called 13 stepping, which is when somebody with a lot of time who is a complete asshole comes into the meeting and tries to pick off women, or men, I guess, who have been sober maybe 6 months or less. Generally, there's a suggestion that you wait about a year. If you're in a marriage, don't get divorced for a year unless you're getting hit. If you're not married, don't dive into it. I can verify that sober people are much easier to deal with than drunk. And I'm happy to hear that you have family who's doing the deal. Things come. Within 6 months of me getting for real sober, I landed the job I have now. It was like super-de-duper part-time, but it was with the agency I'm at now. All sorts of stuff just started to fall into place. When you're drunk or thinking about drinking all day, and I'll say foodie, when you're full or thinking about eating all day, life's very small. There's not much out there. If I'm only going for me and my feelings, all this stuff out here is getting ignored. Now, she doesn't have much of a life to ignore. So when, let's say she falls behind on things for the cat, or some other responsibility that she's, you know, supposed to be addressing, she puts it off, and frames that as self-care. I'm not going to push myself too hard today, so we're not going to be as mean to ourselves about the food. It's the punishment of not getting her fixes that's bothering her. She can't see the goal of, you know, I don't know if she's ever achieved any goals, but, you know. Mark's doing a little better, thanks. He's up and mobile. He's better at using the cane than he was, so he's getting around. He drove a short distance just the other day. I went with him, got in the car. So he's doing okay. He's in motion. We're not up to a jazzy yet. Right now we're at a cane, and then there's a walker hanging around if he needs it, like to be in the kitchen, like put it behind him kind of backwards to work. So One of the things I was admired about Mark is that whatever the limitations, he kept it moving. Whether it was physical, mental, addiction, because Mark's got a past just like me. Believe it or not, Mark, with the cupcakes and the crafting, can rip all the copper plumbing out of your basement too. And he knows how to steal alternators. Just so people in addiction can be very different than when they get well. Behaviors can change a lot. I was able to change my behaviors before I changed my thoughts, which is confusing to walk around like that a lot. It's a self-reminder of I'm not thinking clearly. I have to remember I'm not thinking clearly. Don't take this too personal. Don't take this all about you. You're just being... And a lot of those big feelings happen at the beginning of getting sober. It stops being about the substance after a while, and it's just finding a way to live that isn't awful. And I went to 12-step meetings. If I was freshly sober, I'd go again. But I don't regret going. But I don't regret not going now either. There was a certain period of it's so important to me to be able to trust myself in certain situations. And I didn't really kind of like Chantal says, you don't want to rule your life by committee. You want people's opinions and feedback, but you don't want them running your life either. The idea of switching addictions, I knew people that went from daily drinking to daily meetings. And in the beginning, even the judges who are arresting people for crimes related say the same thing. And most decent rehabs now are 45 to 90 days. When the discussion of inpatient has ever come up for Chantal, it's like a joke. Even to her, it's like a joke. She would walk straight out. Congratulations, step 26. That's a good run, I would say. Yeah, I don't go into bars unless if there's an event or something. Like I went out with coworkers when we were out of town a few years ago, and we were sitting outside, but a few of them were having wine and beer, and they're concerned because I was like, oh, I'll just get a club soda. And they look at me like, oh God, we're drinking in front of a person. I'm like, it's fine. My drinking is my responsibility. If I get tempted, it's my job to get up and leave. It's my job to go call somebody to talk me off the ledge or to find some other way to cope. So, no, she wouldn't, Foxy. When she was making quite a bit of money, she wasn't spending any of it on her health. She'll blow through all her own money on takeout and shit, and then somebody in her family will get really excited that she says she maybe wants to change, and so they'll pay for her to have a car to go to an appointment, or they'll pay for the first month of Ozempic. She's not going to change unless people make it very easy for her. Very easy for her. And she can set some very easy goals that will, kind of build up, but she's not patient. Last time when I took Ozempic, I had lost 70 pounds, and she did. But she was doing other stuff, too. You know what I mean? If Ozempic had that as the active ingredient, you know what I mean? So, since she wasn't thin fast, she got kind of thin. So, and then as this all closes, she walked back. A lot of the stuff she said. Well, I was just... The hair was covered, not necessarily the hijab, but her head was wrapped, she was covered, and I was impulsive, I made a mistake, I really wanted a big audience, so I told a bunch of lies. That would be honest. I wanted a lot of people to be angry at me or for me, and then I need to provide a place where I can be at the center of it, and everyone who comes in has to pay to see me. It's really awful when you kind of frame it like that, I guess. I don't either, Mike. I'm not a car guy. Mark's the car guy. I take it to the garage. We have a garage, 3 blocks away. It's so convenient, especially when we first got the car and we had problems with the transmission and we weren't able to, drive it for a few weeks until the part came in and was approved and all that stuff. After that bullshit, the car's been pretty much a dream. It's gone in for an inspection. I think we might be up to new brake pads. Ugh, weight loss with sexercise with Natter. Yeah. I don't think... never mind, that's crude. You guys are too nice. I don't want to say that out loud. I don't want to say that out loud, but suffice it to say. So going forward, with her being back on YouTube, I think it'll probably be some psychodrama for a while. There's going to be a pop, because there's plenty of people that didn't go over to Kick to watch. But now that she's back on YouTube and it's easy, they might be more inclined to click over. In her absence, though, on Kick, a structure of reactors has built to where if someone wants to do a reaction or response to a Chantal thing, with those 7-hour lives, there were some, lovely folks in the community who were chopping them down. I'm thinking like Barbecue Chillin', Just Saying. There's another one I can't think of that's good too, where they just kind of boil down the details for the rest of us. And with her being on Kick, that was brought to us onto YouTube. But if she doesn't, I don't know. She's going to ruin it for herself. If there's one thing Chantal does, she ruins it for herself and blames everyone else. So if we apply that over this YouTube thing, she's going to lose her monetization again, blame everybody for doing it, blah, blah, blah. So, people took bets about how long the hijab would be off, and I think most people said less than 48 hours. So Loop Whoopin' has a lot of the shorter clips in real time during the day. So if she goes on at noon and you want to get just a clip of what's happening about a certain topic or a certain point, you'll find those videos by Loop. And some of them are shorter. They're like 4 minutes, and some of them are longer. There's always room for new creators in the community. Always room for new reactors. Some come and go. Some have been here a long time. But it's interesting. Piggy, that's the one I forgot. Thank you, Mouse. Piggy does a lot of really sharp boiling down to the points of things. And I think they bloomed while she was on Kick because they were bringing that content from there to us, or they were sniping whatever they were doing. So we'll see now that she's back on her favorite platform where she knows how to turn the screws to try to make things happen. We'll see. We shall see. But at the end of this drama with her, she is no more liked, no more respected, and no more loved than she was 48 hours ago. So I feel for her, because even when you've made your own life a living hell, it still hurts. But if it's the hell of your own creation, you've got to find something else to do. I'm not that deep of a person, but if you've carved out an awful life for yourself, you're going to have to keep carving to find something you like about life. The lies that she tells about her life are more interesting than the truth, which is why the stories are made up and exaggerated, because her life's pretty boring. So she adds little of this, little of that to it. Little story, little sex with a homeless man, little 3-way where I fucking tore up their bathroom, stories like that. Now, if they are true, I expect half of them maybe are. But she doesn't care if she gets gross attention, mad attention, love attention, any kind of attention. And so that's no different. And it's been said she believes her own lies, and I think she does, but nobody else does. She has her back like no other. It's only in certain situations where she'll walk it back because she doesn't want to lose something. And as it is with Sala now, she's walking back the stuff with the hijab and everything she said about Islam and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, honestly, he'd be an idiot to even continue talking to her at this point. Unless there's money, he's not giving her attention at the moment. Not the attention she thinks she's entitled to. He's not giving her that attention, good or bad. So she throws a tantrum so he'll notice. And what happens is everybody else notices and sees it as a manipulative tantrum. She doesn't see it that way. She sees it as her loving husband ignoring her. So, I don't know. Yeah, he's been beyond humiliated. Just tuck your tail in and go. I mean, the person who got out with the least scars, I think, was Bibi, probably Milan. But, I don't know. Win some, you lose some. He's not a dumb person. And even if he is, he's in no position that if someone took advantage of him, they would say, oh, that's so unfair because Sala is so what? Yeah, the farting and all that kind of stuff she does, it's Chantal. She just likes the attention. She doesn't care what kind. She likes being the center of attention, more importantly. She's got main character syndrome. If she's not the one everyone's talking about or worried about or being about, she's not interested. Always she would try to pair herself up with other people too. Like she would always say, people just pick on me and Amberlynn Reed, as if she's next in line. Amber with 250,000 subscribers and Chantal, who's got 200 people watching her scratch her ass on Kick, is going to put herself in the same community. They're different sized channels. Amber's is 5 times the size, well, 3 times the size. Plus, and Amber fucked up her own situation too. But these people had it really good for really long. I've watched a few people for 7-8 years eat as much as they can, then go pass out. And everyone says, how can someone be so unhealthy and have a channel and be so this and have a channel? Well, the stuff about weight and weight loss changed. So then the terms of service change. You can bitch about it, but if you don't follow it, you're not going to make any money. And just so we're all in the same language, she could have posted. It would have been free. Other people who've lost their channels in the meantime have done content so that when the channel restarts, they can be like, oh, here's the stuff I've done different. So Rosie had done something similar. I know Gorlick went back and redid a bunch of shit when his channel was demonetized and then remonetized. So, you know, there is life after suspension, but if you're not going to do anything different, you're just going to get suspended again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And it's a big point of pride for her. There's no other area of her life where she has anything mildly impressive, except her appetite, as the number of people. And she's conspicuously gained another 1,000 subs overnight. I understand the amounts are different when you go on to like Social Blade, that they move in increments of 10, 100, or 1,000. So it doesn't necessarily mean that much exactly. But, you know, it's not the first time she turned over a new leaf and all of a sudden randomly a bunch of more subs popped up. So for her sake, I hope she lives to next week. Also to say French Fried Girl's back. She came back like a day after Chantal. I was never crazy about French Fried Girl, personally. But if she went online talking shit about her ex the entire time and then walked it back, Chantal would think that she was a loser. Chantal would think that she didn't understand he didn't like her. But if you put Chantal in the same situation, because she's in the same situation, oh, the response would be totally different. My man can't get enough of me. I'm not talking him. He's all over me. Of course, honey, I'd be so happy for you if he was. But people being people, anatomy being anatomy, I think it would be an honest reach, but that he probably wouldn't make it, if you know what I mean. So on that perverse note, we're going to leave it here. Yeah, a lot of people unsubbed from French Fried Girl. They didn't like the lying. They didn't like the manipulating. None of that stuff. And when you're going to call out people as being manipulative and dishonest, but you're carrying a really big dishonest secret behind you, it's never a good look. Again, liars think everyone else is lying. Cheaters think everybody cheats. They don't know that they're the scumbag. They think everyone underneath is the same kind of scumbag. So we're going to leave that here for now. I'm convinced it's Sunday because we're talking. So I'm going to go remind myself it's Saturday. I have some cooking to do. We have a little bit of shit going on at home. I still have this bacon sandwich to eat. And it's actually not that cold out right now. It's in the 40s. So we had snow the other day, but it's not bad. So I'm going to try to make the best of the rest of my time. I'll follow up watching the video to see if views go up, of course, or anything like that. But otherwise, I'm going to take it easy, and I suggest you guys, if you have the option, do the same. Give yourself a break for today. 10 minutes, 4 hours, something. Take a little bit of time to make it all about you. Not the whole goddamn week like Chantal. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You'll get alerts when we have new videos and when we go live. We're on Facebook, X, and Instagram. All our contact info is below. We do have memberships available, $2.99 a month to be on the Smoky Deck. We have member posts, member chats, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, please do check it out. Y'all are great as always, and we'll talk soon. All right? Bye. Say goodbye, Mark. He's on the porch having a cigarette. Bye from Mark.